Hey there, fellow FanGeeks. Want to know a secret? I am a totally bossy brat. And I figure I am going to be slaving away in a kitchen and entertaining all those guests on Thanksgiving. I should give Editor Hubby something to do. How about a double feature? So let's watch something else for Thanksgiving. And I picked how Generation X gave thanks. That's right. The Thanksgiving specials we grew up with. So let's see how many of these I recognize. And how many Editor Hubby recognizes. Because he doesn't even know I'm doing this.
It's time to see just how our generation gave thanks. Here are some must-see TV classics where our favorite characters were thankful in the only way they knew how. You've entered the GEN Xperience. I'm Victor, and like many of you, I couldn't wait for those Thanksgiving-themed episodes and specials to land during the holiday, shoehorned between the seasons of chills.
I think they're
and
calling
cheer.
us
So during,
Zennials or
after,
something
or
now.
instead of the big game,
82,
serve
baby.
yourself a heaping helping from this must-see Thanksgiving watch list. And remember, there's always room for seconds. How many times have you had an orphan Thanksgiving? But how many of those times ended like this? At least it would have been memorable.
I think we call those
This
Friendsgivings
1986
now?
episode of Cheers hits a series high with a climax most of us can only wish for when it comes to the Thanksgiving feast. Who hasn't imagined the most awesome food fight before dinner comes to an end? However,
Me.
even when tensions flare and you are this close to tossing the first mashed potatoes, cooler heads prevail. Or do they? Has this ever happened to you? This classic episode includes all the regulars at the time in a welcomed and rare scene outside the environment of the bar. Fun as it sounds, perhaps Norm's never-seen wife will be left cleaning
Big
up this
sissy, don't
mess.
play that.
Everybody, this is Vera.
Charming friends, Norm. Get your coat.
You'll want to discover this gem and make it an annual visit. Even from 1988, it is full of surprise guests, wholesome fun, raucous bits, and even edgy sketches. It had to have been a smash, even without the unique brand of physical comedy delivered by Gallagher.
I've seen that a couple of times, actually.
Happy Thanksgiving!
My mom and my dad were huge Gallagher fans.
Tom and Dick Smothers added some
My dad
early
actually
Gen X
had
fans to their
videos.
established boomer audience
Yes, I remember
on their
VHS
regular
tapes.
Smothers Brothers
I could
comedy
fix
hour through the late
VCRs.
80s. This Thanksgiving special
went
is
through
one of the
them like
best
water.
episodes and does a great job with impersonations, political parodies, and roasting hot social topics of the day, all while keeping it civil and showcasing
Sorry,
incredible
guys.
talent,
I haven't finished my
as
protein
well as
yet.
having some occasional head-scratching bits that, looking back on today, make you shake your head and say, what the? Speaking of what the, you
the
knew
is
this would
for
be on the
sure.
list, but you may not know that the Star Wars Holiday Special was not intended as Christmas time fare, but for the Thanksgiving set. The storyline, complete with all the side quests, distractions, and story gaps, takes place around the Wookiee celebration of Life Day.
This is the promise of the Tree of Life.
Life Day is another way to celebrate being thankful, so it is in line with the spirit of our own family get-together. With the Empire threatening to spoil the festivities, the gang of rebels must outwit the enemy and assure Chewbacca makes it back to his family, and what looks to be an initiation into the dark arts. Or perhaps those red robes are a hazing ritual for Wookiees. Either way, we are treated to a cosmetically over-the-top Luke and a solo song from Princess Leia. Oh, this script should have been burned. You can find this masterpiece on YouTube, but if you'd like to skip the long-in-the-tooth cantina scene that even B. Arthur can't fix, or the virtual adult content being displayed for Chewie's dad Lumpy starring Diane Carroll, well then just watch the first introduction of Boba Fett. Before The Empire Strikes Back, Fett was introduced in the original cartoon from this special called The Faithful Wookiee, and that now appears on Disney+, where you can also take in a modern Life Day with the Star Wars Lego Holiday Special. But we're not talking about today's brand of holiday offerings, if there are any. Are there? Well, don't fret, because we're talking about what was being watched during the GEN Xperience and what you should make certain is on your playlist today. When it comes to must-see holiday specials, make sure Bugs Bunny is never overlooked. The Q*bert and Care Bear Thanksgiving specials may have lost their luster as time-honored rewatches over the years, but the Bugs Bunny Thanksgiving Diet from 1978 will still have you laughing inside where it counts, or full-on chortling over the bygone era of animated antics. Specials and TV episodes aren't the only things to make time for over the long Thanksgiving weekend. Steve Martin has never gone out of style. And as his star still shines, you might want to think of revisiting Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, one of the few films centered around Thanksgiving that will have you hearkening back to troubling times you may have had getting home to the warmth of family over the holiday. Making this comedy stick is another warm soul, John Candy.
All our
John
family
knows
lives
just how
in
warm when
Texas,
trying to keep the cold at bay between Steve's two pillows.
Really, it was always
This
just
unexpected
a
buddy
hop,
comedy ties up the spirit of Thanksgiving in
45
the
and
end
bam.
and manages to make us all appreciate what
Or,
we have.
you know.
Wind down after the big day
So-
with this classic film from 1987 and relive yesteryear with the
Salute.
ghosts of Thanksgiving past.
Essentially,
now, if you want to go back to the past, you can't go
everywhere
any
in
further
Houston
back
is
than the Thanksgiving TV
within an
special
hour.
with BC. It quite literally means before Christ. Even if the
You've got a
television
day,
event
you
came
can
out
get
smack
just about
dab in the
anywhere
middle
in
of the GEN Xperience, when Gen Xers grew into their own and weren't yet... Wait, what? You don't remember BC? With newspaper comic strips all but extinct, you might need to brush up on your cartoon print characters from the funny pages. A strip of stereotypical cavemen straight out of the dawn of mankind face the problems of the contemporary world, often parodying or playing off the issues of current times with anachronistic responses and action juxtaposed with visual humor from their Cro-Magnon past. This comic was so beloved and popular that they had their own fast food glasses offered from Arby's in 1981. But when it came to Thanksgiving,
We
BC
had
gave a
some of those.
remarkably underrated holiday special in 1973 you've got to check out. Definitely feels like a different era, but it is a great time capsule from an intellectual property that might seem unremarkable from the onset. But running from 1968 to 2001, this surprising comic favorite of mine easily outlasted countless others, including more recent caveman-themed comedies of the 21st century. BC wasn't the only comic strip character to make it big. The lasagna-loving, Monday-hating cat Garfield
God.
was almost as
The
successful as
Garfield
the
Christmas
Peanuts gang
special,
when it came to the
I
holiday
watch
special, delivering
every
holiday
year,
cartoon specials of the
few
top 3
times.
holidays in prime time.
Just like
the
the
Thanksgiving
original
special is certainly
cartoon
unique.
version of The
And some of
Grinch.
today's sensibilities
Like
might call it
Garfield,
out for who
The
knows
Grinch,
what.
and Die
But
Hard.
not good old Gen X
Every
who knew
year.
it was all in fun. Trying to woo an object of his
And I
affection,
usually get
John
roped
convinces
into
his vet to have a first date on
the
Thanksgiving.
original Home Alone.
Garfield, sensing the absolute chaos that will ensue due to John's obliviousness, enlists John's grandmother
I try
to
and
help.
watch Sound of
Garfield
Music.
could be sardonic and occasionally mean-spirited, but on the inside, he had a heart of gold. Short and to the point, this 80s cartoon special from
But that's more of
1989,
a
based on the
my mom
popular
and I
comic
tradition.
character, stands the test of time and is
And I
an
like to
easy
watch
watch
The
every
Nutcracker
year.
with
Trust
one
me,
of- with my
home
younger
for the
sister.
holidays. The song sums it up, and the title of the movie is not lost on anyone who has not only made the trek back to the family home or hometown of their youth,
never seen
but
that
to a
one.
family who can't help but be dysfunctional. But what family isn't flawed? The
think
pressure of time passing and
A
family
lot of
dynamic
those types
changes
of
can make
movies
life
of
difficult.
going home for
You
the
choose to
holidays
accept
or
turn your back.
family
Gen X
issue
took it in stride,
holidays.
expected it,
Just a
accepted
5,
it, and
guys.
more often than not,
My
simply grinned
mom's
and
oldest
bared
of
it.
6.
Claudia tried
my
desperately
mom's
to do that in
the
film,
second youngest
with
of
varying
6, I meant.
results. Take a
So-
melancholy but honestly humorous journey back home for Thanksgiving
Lots of
with Holly
family.
Hunter, Robert Downey Jr., and
Didn't
Anne
need-
Bancroft in a traditional family holiday celebration filled with the usual guilt, acceptance, apology, failure, and understanding
my
that comes
holiday.
with it, and sums
No
up most
added
family
drama,
life.
thanks.
Proving that although you can never truly go home again, when you do visit, it won't be long until you leave. This 1995 film exists at the end of the youngest Gen Xers' teenage years, but resonates with most from that generation as exactly the holiday they remember. Both a blessing and a curse, a holiday they wouldn't trade for anything. Holiday TV seems to be a thing of the past.
Polaroids. I love
Thanksgiving-themed
those things.
episodes once brought families together, usually over one TV, and our favorite sitcoms getting the holiday treatment were looked forward to with anticipation.
True.
The trusty TV guide could help us find special shows like the 1975 Bob Newhart Over the River and Through the Woods. I'll let that one be a surprise. You'll just have to look it up. But one of the most unconventional sitcom episodes came just 3 years later. and is totally worth it. Who here thought turkeys could fly? Well, Mr. Carlson of WKRP did. In one of the most famous episodes of TV, the manager of the station and Herb, the advertising manager, drop live turkeys on unsuspecting shoppers in a mall as a WKRP station holiday publicity stunt.
Oh my God, they're turkeys!
All while the horrified newsman Les Nessman reports in graphic detail the aftermath of these poor birds sailing towards the pavement below.
Running around, pushing each other. Oh my goodness! Oh, the humanity! Oh, people are running about. The turkeys are hitting the ground like sacks of wet cement.
This 1978 episode leads you to a conclusion that could never have been foreseen for the first-time viewer. Today, we wait excitedly as the action leads to the final moment, as we laugh hysterically until the disheveled and spent cast members return with the best last line to a holiday episode that honored the very heart of our Thanksgiving tradition.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
And when it comes to traditions, the trifecta of Peanuts holiday specials was at its peak with the premiere of A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving in 1973. It may not have the same feels as A Charlie Brown Christmas,
It doesn't,
or even
but-
more so, It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, but the defining moments are there, with the unconventional dinner, the self-invited guests, Linus and Marcy pointing out the spirit of the holiday, and ending with Snoopy and Woodstock feasting on their own turkey. Yes, Woodstock was also feasting on that cooked fowl. Let that sink in. Of course, anyone watching this annual favorite holiday outing will no doubt notice Franklin. From this hand-slapping entrance greeting to Chuck, to sitting alone on one side of the table, they're a subtle feast for the eyes and the funny bone. How many of you have recreated the jelly bean, pretzel, toast, and popcorn Thanksgiving feast yourself? Let me know all
No.
about it in the comments and how it went. I feel a new tradition coming on. Originating way back during the Greatest Generation, Macy's debuted an annual tradition that transcends generational divide and is a holiday staple today. Kicking off with Broadway's best and featuring not only an ever-changing roster of balloons, but creative floats and opportunities for marching bands all across the globe to be seen and heard. The Macy's
I
Thanksgiving
think
Day Parade
I've
is a
missed
must-see
that the
from start to
last
finish.
5 or so
Even
years.
if it plays while you prepare
We
the
try and
feast,
put it on,
you have to
but
stop to
we're
watch and
always
marvel
late.
at the Rockettes and the finale arrival of Santa in all his glorious splendor. Oh, and speaking of those Rockettes, you really need to check out
get
the Radio
too
City
busy,
Music Hall
you
Christmas
know?
Spectacular featuring those gorgeous
There's
dancers
so
who've
much
been entertaining
going
for
on.
decades. So that's another must watch. Don't forget, this parade, this moment, this ritual is important in the passing of the holiday and can be enjoyed over and over
It's
again.
true.
Although I have significant memories of great floats in the 1980s like Masters of the Universe, Marvel, and more, it doesn't matter what year it is. It will outlast all of us and is worth the watch. After seeing this year's festival, take a look back in time at parades of the past, including the commercials, and relish in a bygone era. Like 1947, when the parade was immortalized and became as iconic as turkey and cranberry sauce. The real Santa
there's
takes
another
over
one.
for a drunken
Watch
lookalike
every
at 0
single
hour
year.
and
It's my
steps
mom's
off into a
absolute
heartwarming comedy
favorite
whose
movie
message still
ever.
resonates today. Believe.
She
Whoever you are, wherever you
loves
come
it.
from, don't let the cynicism or outrage of today destroy your hope or faith. Believe is as important today as it was well over 70 years ago.
In fact,
this
and yes,
absolutely wasn't
this is
a
how much
definitive list. It was my
fan
list,
geeking runs in
but it
my
sure can get
family.
you started
My
on
mom
some
has
classic
an
memories of Thanksgiving
unopened
past and can be
VHS.
used as a method of digestion after the
50th
big meal. Whether you are
some
waiting
kind
for
of
the dog show to
anniversary
start
edition or
afterwards or
whatever,
switching to
whatever,
either the Lions or the
when the
Cowboys game, I
anniversary.
hope these options will help fill your day or your whole holiday weekend with the joy that Thanksgiving can bring.
Just crazy.
Did I forget any great ones that you loved? I certainly hope it reminded you to check out some of the favorites from years past. Please know how thankful I am to any help you give to support my channel by pressing like and subscribe and even
This
commenting.
is awesome. What about you guys? What are your traditions? What do you watch? What do you look forward to? What do you do on Thanksgiving? Comment below. Let me know. Remember to hit that like button, and if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe to our channel. It really, really helps us out, and it's completely free. Remember to make sure your notifications are on and hit that notification bell so that you get notified whenever we are updating the channel. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.